Yeah, so look, I'm going off the farm and back in time, as I say. The topic of my talk was around localism, so I thought really should have a definition up there, which is a preference for one's own area or region, especially when this results in a limitation of outlook. Not like limitation of outlook. So we need to be careful here when we're talking about localism that it's not actually in the broader macroeconomic kind of way that you would frame that, which is not saying that everything we do is better than anyone else and we shouldn't have trade or anything. More like something that should be considered. And I guess going back in time, we need to talk to people like Norman Borlaug, who's in the 60s, late 60s in America. He was the agricultural advisor to the government at the time, and he's referred to as the father of the Green Revolution. And I suppose it's probably worth pointing out that, you know, we take a lot of a lead from America in this country, which is why you'll find that my talk is the greatest. It's greater than all the other presenters are crap. It's fake president. No, we do take a lot of lead from the States, and this Norman Borlaug, who started, as I say, that idea of like, don't let any, you should farm fence to fence. Absolutely don't let any of your land rest. Did a lot of work with wheat dwarf breeds and the other, and we received a Nobel Peace Prize in 1970 for, you know, purportedly saving the lives of 1 billion people on planet Earth. What he also did, though, was introduce the concept of industrial agriculture. And I felt that very keenly in Yetholm, as my farm became part in the 80s, late 70s and 80s, of that whole get big or get out paradigm. And it's really worth understanding that, I think, because it helps you understand the context of the piece of land and what you're doing at the moment. How many people here are involved with livestock, by the way? Just show of hands. And how many people with vegetables or with cropping? Yeah, okay, all right, that's good. So, you know, that the idea of what we're seeing now, why, I mean, for some of the younger people in the audience, it might not be as surprising as for some of the others who remember the field days. I mean, we used to have 40 acres of apples. I was like, no. The agricultural advice was, no, you have to have 100. So we dozed out 40 acres of the nicest organic apples in the region in the 80s as part of that whole paradigm of what farming actually was. And then I think, fortunately for me, my father and grandfather and uncle and that thought, maybe this isn't all going in the right direction. You know, maybe we should leave some space in our property for diversity corridors. Maybe we should leave some land fallow. Maybe we should just back off a little bit. And it turned out that was actually a really smart choice, which Marita, I think, alluded to earlier. This whole concept of economic rationalisation, I think, is we're in a paradigm now where that is breaking down, and you're seeing it in energy, and you're seeing it in a lot of the way societies function. My belief is we're falling out of love with globalisation, and we're really testing that concept that big is better, scales of efficiency. You know. And as a metaphor for that, I like to think about the energy industry now, where if you look, I mean, there's lots of talk about Australia being very noble and burning our coal because we have to provide poor people in India with energy. You bloody bourgeois capitalist bastards, you know, how dare you deny the poor Indians access to electricity? Well, the reality is in India right now, you can build a brand new 2,000 megawatt power station and it will produce coal-fired electricity for 5.6 cents per kilowatt hour. Or you can put in a solar array and batteries, which will do it for 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour, without having to build a transition grid. Now, they're energy authority, that's the global figures, that's not me making that up. So, you know, that concept of putting something big somewhere and moving it lots of distance, whether it be food, whether it be energy, whether it be water, that's breaking down now. And so that actually has quite a bit of relevance to the way you operate your business and what you're trying to do. So I like to, you know, we had that whole thing about think global, act local. I'm sort of going, is that really it? Or is actually think local and act in the global interest? Maybe that's a better way to sort of think about it. So I guess if you've got a patch of land, the main question you really ask is, well, what will you grow? Who will you grow it for, and what will they pay? That's the thing that will keep kids in school. Here's some interesting thing. 4 out of 5, this is CSIRO research, 4 out of 5 Australians are not getting enough fruits and vegetables in their diet, with men faring worse than women, according to the largest survey that's been done in the country. There's actually some supplementary research on this which showed that 2% of children eat the recommended daily intake of vegetables and 0.5% of men. And the interesting thing about that is this fascinating research now which shows the impact on brain development of what a woman eats when she's pregnant. Like, huge. Like, we are actually, you know, if you are what you eat, we're not doing ourselves any services here. This is a really interesting thing that came out of the survey. Professor Manny's note said that while the results were disappointing, they were not surprising, and the main factor was convenience. I promised to tie this together. The other question is, what do we eat in Bathurst? Well, who knows? The reality is, who knows? We had a project here. I did some. We were going to use young, you know, disenfranchised Aboriginal children here to grow food on this site here. So I did some analysis based on DPI stats and what we could do. We reckon we could grow $130,000 worth of produce in that area there. So that was just being smart, choosing the right, what's your income per square metre of land, what can you companion, all that kind of stuff, you know. And we got to about $130,000 of revenue fairly simply. So the plan was to employ a person, a caretaker, to water it on weekends and whatever, and then use students and introduce them to agriculture so they learn through the whole process. What was interesting, I said, all right, well, what are we actually going to grow? And I tried to find out. I thought, well, you know, if Bathurst imports a heap of capsicum, maybe we can grow that instead or whatever. Well, the reality was I couldn't find out. And a lot of this, I spoke to a friend who was a geographer in the 60s. He said, mate, we used to track all that. And now you can't. It's all tied up in IP for the duopoly. They won't tell you what they buy and sell. And so we're really at a disadvantage. If you're trying to actually plan to meet a market niche locally, then that sort of information would be really important. But instead of knowing, you're just left with having to do your research and having to take a bit of a punt at what your market is. We ended up going and speaking to Ridges and various other places and saying, would you buy our produce? And they said, absolutely, if it's been grown by, you know, in this sort of scenario. And you find out that they use 20 bags of carrots a week or whatever. And then the challenge, which is not a trivial one, is working out how you actually reliably, consistently grow quality carrots for 26 weeks or whatever your season is. Nonetheless, you know, the first thing you need to do is find out who your market is. This is interesting. Your grandparents spent more of their money on food than you do. These are US statistics. I couldn't find the Australian ones, but they are very analogous. You can see total food. This is your budget. Your total food budget, your food at home, has just fallen over the years. Food away from home, interestingly, is pretty static. Not a surprise in that. But compared to 1960, we're half as much of our income goes on food. But your grandparents also spent much less on healthcare, getting back to that first point. Interesting to kind of understand, so who are you actually selling for if you're looking at a local network? Well, one of the things I wanted to share with you today was the story of our family farm, which, you know, we've been out there for 100 odd years, and back in 1948 my grandfather bought an old Bedford truck. 1938. All the produce used to go down to the train terminal at Taranah. But what happened then, the railway staff would pilfer so much of the produce, by the time it got to Haymarket, you were selling half as much. Who would have thought? Humans, eh? So you talk to like a lot of local producers, then went, blow this, the road's better now, we'll get a truck. And they started trucking their own food down to Haymarket. And in 1949, my grandfather made enough profit out of one crop of Brussels sprouts to pay for his house. Built a house. Population who really value what they eat. And those people tend to go to farmers markets. Fortunately, they go to them in Haymarket and Everleigh and some of those markets in Sydney. So how's this for the wheel turning? Now, every Friday, today, but about now, Quentin and Leslie will be loading up the truck and taking a packet of, you know, veggies, all the stuff they grow, down to the markets in Sydney. And what's happened now is they make a very tidy income out of that. And so the perverse thing in the Australian food industry at the moment is, I'm wondering, when are they going to go stuff the hassle with 11 staff and 5 tractors and all the issues with growing a million broccoli? Why don't we just put in a few acres and grow for Sydney and Everleigh and live happily ever after on a bit of cash income? So, you know, it shouldn't be depressing, although it should make you never want to shop in Woolies or Coles ever again. Proud of the fact I only went in there 3 times last year. I'm trying to do better this year. But yeah, like the point of that story for you guys here is if we're starting to talk about localism, then finding those people and those markets that are willing to pay for your product is really important. It's a really non-trivial part of your plan and your work. Because those markets are there, and you know, it's unfair in many ways of agriculturalists to say, oh well, you've got to be a gambler, and you know, you've got to be a voodoo weatherman, and you've got to be a soil agronomist, and you've got to be an animal technician, all this kind of stuff. Well, now you also have to be, you know, you have to understand human psychology and markets and marketing and all that kind of thing. One of the other things that was very valid for us though was going organic. If you talk to my father and uncle, they did that 30 years ago nearly. And they'll both say that's the reason you're still in business. Because while conventional broccoli was getting, you know, 20 bucks a box, the organic would get 24. And the other thing, which ties into the climate change scenario, was that when Victoria gets wiped out from heat waves, because plants have a threshold, it doesn't matter how much water you pour on them. If it's above 35 for 4 days, they fall over. They don't die, but they don't yield. You know, so we make money when Victoria gets wiped out with a heat wave now, we make a bit of money. So that's something else to consider when you're thinking about what you grow for whom, you know, what's your natural advantage and what species have you got that will handle what you're doing. I think that's really most of what I wanted to make a point about there. In terms of skill set, the reason I put local labour up here is because getting help on your farm, that you know, the pulse that work can come through is sometimes a problem, and helping make those decisions is also a problem. So we've started this thing called Landworks. Thomas is out there, which we are able to provide for you a labour force of people to come and help you out at a certain period of time. And you know, what's important for us is to make sure those people have a few smarts about them. Really, we're talking about, in a lot of cases, Green Army graduates who know how to hold a shovel and do a bit of stuff. So we're really quite passionate. I work with Cotton Australia and a few others about building a local ecosystem of workers who will turn up more than 2 days in a row straight, you know, who will do what they're told and go at the end of the day. So you know, I think it's also important that we work together with our labour force, because probably a lot of you won't be able to employ someone. You'll just need someone at a certain time. Well, wouldn't it be great if you finished with them when Tony needs them out at the vineyard, you know, or great, Tony's done with them, they head off somewhere else. So, you know, part of what our solution should be is how do we support landowners with the labour to get their crops on and off in and out. The only thing, look, I think I made enough of that point at the beginning around local energy, and you know, the thing that's happening there is amazing. You know, our ability to produce and consume locally is an absolute game changer. And I think what's happened, you can chart this all around the world, the whole globalisation trend has got to such a point that there is now space down the bottom. There's now space. And if you look at ecosystems and the way they function, the same sort of thing happens. You know, you'll get a plant that'll come through and be dominant, it'll be massive, and then all of a sudden it's prone to disease and problems. It's a sort of monoculture, it becomes prone, and then you have a state change and you have opportunities under those plants for a whole range of diverse systems to come in. The same thing is happening globally. You know, that whole idea of big companies now, they're all, you know, you're starting to see break down a lot of the large companies, and the economics for smaller companies and diversity is coming in again. So you have an opportunity, I think, to be part of that revolution if you think locally and act globally. Is that me? Done that? No, yes, that is me. Look at that.